James Khan is one of the UK's most successful and dynamic entrepreneurs. He's amassed an £85 million fortune through creating global recruitment businesses and from his private equity empire in London's Mayfair. With an impeccable track record of creating and managing companies, he's now taking this first-hand knowledge on the road to mentor 6 of the UK's most vibrant small and medium-sized enterprises. He's on a mission to navigate the entrepreneurs through the challenges they face, to seize market opportunities, and to boost their bottom line. With James's nearly 30 years of business expertise, will the young companies make the change or stick to their ways? The Business Class begins here.
I like the concept of what we have on the show tonight because it's very much around crowdfunding, which is about raising money online and, importantly, connecting that investor with the entrepreneur. Joining me now is Simon Walker, Director General of the Institute of Directors, and Andrew Bathgate, Partner at Good Innovation, a specialist consultancy that guides you through the commercial aspects of innovation. Welcome, gentlemen. What is this market opportunity of crowdfunding? Do you see this as being something that's going to become a habit of people investing in businesses online?
Yes, I think it's something quite serious. I think it is a trend that's developing. I think people will like to do it, and I think if it can be made easy, quick and reliable, at least from a kind of background point of view, you're not always going to know the investments are going to succeed, but as long as you know that they're straight, you're going to be all right.
I think there's something really interesting they're doing, which is increasing the size of the angel investment market and going for the long tail of people that can't afford to invest £10,000 in something, but actually they're passionate about what they want to invest in.
Well, let's take a look at the third company in our series and an innovator in the UK crowdfunding arena, Crowdcube.
Hi, I'm Darren Westlake and I'm the CEO of Crowdcube.
And my name's Luke Lang and we're the co-founders of Crowdcube, the world's first equity crowdfunding platform, established in February 2011.
We're based in Exeter in Devon, we've got 15 employees and we're planning to turn over 1.5 million in the next year. My light bulb moment was I was watching Dragon's Den one day and there was a company on there that didn't raise the money from the Dragons, they wanted £50,000. I thought it was a great company and I wanted to invest the £50,000, but being a poor entrepreneur I didn't have that money. But I had £50 and I thought, well, if there's 1,000 people watching TV like me thinking the same thing, is there a way that we can mobilise these people and use a web platform to get them all to invest?
So, James, you've seen the company profile. The founders, they're here and they're waiting in the green room. But what are your first impressions of the business?
Caroline, I think they're clearly addressing a very important gap in the market, and I think just watching that, Vita, you can see an array of different businesses from all different sectors. And what I particularly like is you've got that range from that sort of £25,000 to £1.5 million. What were your kind of impressions, Simon, on this?
I feel pretty positive about it. I think they have a good mission and they're doing something they believe in passionately. Whether it's commercially viable is something I'm less sure of. And whether
what do you mean by that?
Whether it can be scaled up to a big enough level to make it really commercial.
I think I'm probably a bit more optimistic there than potentially Simon. I think they've, in a very short amount of time, they built a team, they built a brand, they built a reputation, they've had successful projects, funds, they've got some really great PR. And I don't think we can kind of underestimate how far they've come in actually a really short amount of time. I think they've got some big challenges coming up about what they do next and where they focus their efforts. But I think where they are at the moment, they've created some really good success.
Now, in each episode, we look at the 2 biggest challenges the entrepreneurs have flagged up to us. Here's Crowdcube's first one.
We're currently the biggest and the best equity crowdfunding platform in the UK, but it's a very nascent industry and we're likely to experience much stiffer competition in the future. So I would like expert advice on how we can not only maintain our market share, but grow it further.
You've got to identify your market. You have investors that want good deal flow. So the better the deal flow that Crowdcube can generate, the more investors they're going to get. If I'm an investor, I need to see businesses that I otherwise wouldn't see. I need transparency, I need good quality due diligence, I need good information. How would you respond to that, Simon?
I think that's right. I think that they need a kind of marketing program and a program of getting themselves out there that will ensure that they stay ahead of the pack.
Andrew, this is a market where it's never had an exit yet. So that's going to be quite challenging. So if you're going to stay ahead of the crowd, what is it that you think they can do that will enable them to achieve that?
I think trust is what their platform offers in the absence of exits and case studies. And I think it's how they build trust with the investor community. So if the investors don't get to meet them, what can they provide around additional information and additional reading, additional data points about the industry that they're in to engender that trust?
In a minute, I'm going to grab the founders, but first, James, let's bring you their second challenge.
One of our challenges is how to internationalise our business. We need advice on the best structure and strategy on how to create a global footprint without disrupting our core business.
So, James, the guys, they want to go global. What would your advice be?
I mean, going global, I think, is not an easy task. I mean, the first issue that comes to my mind is regulation. The one thing we know is in the UK right now, we haven't actually got the regulation structure in place, and it's still under debate. I suppose what would worry me is if we haven't got it right in the UK, what's Germany doing? What's Europe doing? What's the US doing? I suppose the first thing that comes to my mind before I even get into the regulation issue is before you internationalise a business, have you got the UK right? Are you making money right now as a business in the UK? And I think from the statistics and the numbers that I've seen from Crowdcube, the business is still loss-making. So I think I'd look at it from a different perspective and say, do you expand a business internationally whilst it's still losing money, Simon?
James, I'm quite scared about their globalisation plans. I think they've got good intentions, good plans, but I think they could be trying to run before they can walk.
It's time for our experts to meet Luke Lang and Darren Westlake.
Hiya. Hi, Luke. Nice to see you. Darren, nice to see you. Welcome. Luke, Darren, welcome to the business class. Firstly, can I tell you, fascinating business, and I think a really interesting space. And as you know, the whole space of entrepreneurship for me is my real passion. Yeah. Some of the points, however, we picked up, I think were quite key issues that we identified in the business. From your perspective, what were your thoughts on some of the key issues that were concerning us?
One of the points that really resonated for me was the trust aspect. And that, again, that's really, really important. And I think we're starting to see trust from our investors through our platform.
Yeah, I thought your points around internationalisation were really key, and there's some points that we've been wrestling with internally for some time now. We've started to show some success in the UK, and we're moving towards profitability now. So we think the time is right to start to go international. And if we don't do it now, somebody else is going to beat us to it.
Everything you've just said is exactly what every entrepreneur faces, which is if I don't do that, somebody else will. Yeah. But actually, you know what? That's not a bad thing. Let somebody else go out there. Let somebody else make those mistakes. So let me just recap. I think it's fair to say we love the business. We think what you've done and what you've created, you've broken new ground, you've got innovation, and you're delivering something that I think clearly the market needs right now. I think you're in that very challenging stage right now that your decisions you make are going to be critical. I think as a panel, our view clearly is right now, as you can probably tell from our sentiment, is don't rush and don't run before you can walk. That is a big, big risk to take. Get that information in terms of transparency, integrity, absolutely right. Yeah. Look after those customers, look after those entrepreneurs. Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. It was a delight having you on the show.
Thanks so much.
We've almost come to the end of the show, but as promised, here's the Twitter question for you, James. Mr. Ray Hill tweets in and asks, how do you market your idea while it is in development and at the same time protect it?
That's a great question, Carolyn. In fact, it's one question I knew was going to come up because it's probably the most obvious question that a lot of entrepreneurs want to know. So let's firstly deal with the first point, which is how do you market it when it's under development? The most important thing I would say is you absolutely need to make sure that in those very early stages, talk to as many potential customers as you can, because in order to define what is a good idea, the key question is anybody going to buy it?